for me, in my background, I like to overplan. That is a weakness for me. Overplan, overthink it, and try to get everything perfect. It kind of opened my eyes to think like, man, you can't dwell on the failure. Look at it as a lesson that you've learned from to better educate yourself moving forward.
Hey, this is Trent Knott here with Who Dare Go There, opening your own business. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Grant Girsky. And so we're going to get into what Grant does with his life and with us in just a minute. But today we're going to jump right into the Bible verse. And so let me put on my glasses and here we go. Today I'm reading from Matthew 5 and we're going down to 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand and gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. To me, the Bible is calling us to be a light of the world. Right now, we're living in such dark times. The hurricane just came through. There are 1,000 people missing. There are people families that have lost loved ones, and it's so hard to be a light. But we are still called to be a light into this world. So what can we do to help these people is like, A, first of all, we can pray for these people. B, we as entrepreneurs can also send money to these people. And I keep talking about that, but we as entrepreneurs always, and people in general, need to give back. So if you have a way of giving to a church that's going that direction, we know a lot of people personally in that area, and it is devastation. Even our government and everything in this world is in an upturn right now. So we can either worry about all these things and paralyze us in what we do, or we can look to God and we can get strong in our faith and be a light to everyone around us. So to me, I thought that was important, and that we just need to be a light. Even our business is under attack in different forms right now. And so we can dwell on that, or we can stand strong in our faith and just shine like a light. So where there is light, there is no darkness. And that's what we're counting on. So we'll go to the Lord in prayer for a second here. Dear Heavenly Father, we do lift up these people in North Carolina and Tennessee and Georgia that have lost everything they have, including a lot of lives that have been lost. And Lord, there's a lot of people that have been affected by this. And Lord, we just ask that you be with those people, especially in having to rebuild the whole towns and houses and all that they have going on, Lord, and the many, many, many lives that have been lost. Lord, I'm not sure why this happened. I'm not here to question you, but I'm here to just lift them up to you, Lord, and we pray for all these families. Lord, use us, everyone here, that we can help these people and do what your will is, and that is to be a light into this dark world. Use us, Lord, and we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Hey, Trent Knott here. We're going to have an exciting day. I have Grant Girsky here today. Today, our conversation is going to be about marketing. We can all go into business and we can have our services, we can do whatever we do to start our own business, but if we don't have customers, that is not good for us. So today, Grant is he plays a lot of roles. He owns some companies and he's helping with our marketing as well, so he has a lot of roles. So Grant, let's jump off and let's explain to people why have you talking about our marketing and what they can do for marketing as well. So let's step back. What were you doing pre-COVID?
Yeah, so stepping back pre-COVID, I was in the health industry. So my background, I actually went to school for health and human performance. So went to Austin Peay, got my undergrad degree and master's degree in health, and that's been my background. Pre-COVID, we moved, my wife and I, were newlyweds at the time, moved to Memphis, like Trent did here.
Yeah.
And moved to Memphis, started our journey there. She was starting optometry school, so that was a 4-year stretch there. I started working at a health club as a personal trainer and a nutritionist, and is a 100% commissioned gig. You eat what you kill, and taught me a lot. I did that for 3 years, and as that time was going on, and even before that, while I was in school, I really knew what I wanted to do was start my own business, like my own online health coaching business. And just at the time with my wife starting school, knowing she wasn't going to be earning an income for 4 years, just wasn't the best time for us to start that business. But I was able to, outside of that in-person business I was building, I was able to set the framework to go online and do what I was really passionate about. And you fast forward to right around COVID time, we were actually said I was going to quit my job, and we were leaving to do a year of externships. We were going to bounce around. She was going to go work at different places her last year of school.
Doing what? What does she do?
She's an optometrist.
Okay.
She's not a doctor. And we set up to do that. And COVID hit literally the month before I was set to leave my job. So it was like one of those things, God just could not have put me in a better position to start this journey. It's hard as Trent can tell you, it is hard. Business is hard. And really fast forward from there, I'd been running that company for a couple years now. Got 2 great coaches that work with me, and kind of got to a point recently where Chase and I had a discussion maybe a year and a half ago, Chase being Trent's son. After Bible study, Friday morning Bible study, we have just a group of guys, and we were talking about Acme Athletics, one of the businesses here, and then my coaching business, and the similarities and just some of the things we were doing with technology and marketing and things like that. And we realized, man, we're into a lot of the same things. We're on the same wavelength. I just had never met anyone else that really got it, especially in the local area. So we kind of went back and forth from there. And then one day, a couple weeks later, Chase approached me. He's like, what if we started a business where we help people with this, help local businesses do this? I was like, well, why not? So kind of fast tracking from there kind of brought us to where we are today.
So let's talk about this a little bit, because let's explain what you do now and how you do it, from filming tell me what you do now.
Yeah, so what we're doing now in Hometown Profit, we have kind of done a couple of different things. Recently, we've learned that people just need a presence. With the rise of AI and technology and things, people trust people. And you need to just get on video to be able to bridge the gap between what's real and what's fake, and really building trust. And we found, with these local businesses, none of them are doing video, and the few that aren't doing it very well, because it is hard. As a local business owner, you're running the business. You are doing the day-to-day. You have a million things that have to get done. The last thing you're figuring out is, how do I record myself? What do I say? Who's going to edit it? Where do I post it to? How do I schedule it? It is just so much to where no one does it. So it's a gap we've looked at. For us, it's man, we can fill that and help people communicate to their prospects, to their people, to their customers, just what makes them different and who they are, and really just what they do.
So kind of walk me through what you do. Let's take I am Knott's carpet cleaning. So you get in contact with me, then what happens?
So from there, we get in contact, and we really just figure out, what is your business? What are you really looking to promote or offer, or really what's the bottleneck you want to address in that business? And once we figure out what that is, we can see how with marketing we can help solve that. So for the business owner, we figure out what that area is, and we really come to your business, set up some cameras, throw a mic on, and we just have a casual conversation, kind of like Trent and I are doing right now, off the cuff, unplanned. I didn't even know about this conversation until about 45 minutes ago. I still didn't even know what we were talking about until we sat down. And we do the same thing with the business owners that we work with. We show up, we've got a general list of some topics we can talk through, but we're just having a conversation, sharing what you're passionate about, what your expertise is, and we take that 45-minute conversation. We're able to take it and just really distribute it into so many different things. We're able to create short form video content. We're able to create ad videos. We're able to create newsletters and blog posts and all kinds of different things that we can edit and pre-create for you, as well as schedule it out, send it, and really handle all of the social media and the marketing and the paid ads without you having to lift a finger.
Well, first of all, I don't usually tell anybody what we're going to talk about, because even me, you don't see notes on my page or on my desk here, because I feel more passionate about these subjects, and I can't go by a list of things that we need to talk about, because when we talk, they just come out. And it's just like videoing. When you're videoing your customers and you're talking to them, it just comes out. It's not like they're reading a list. That way, it even looks more real, and people believe the more real you versus, this reading a list, right? Reading it
Absolutely.
by prompter type situation. So one of the things that interests me, Grant, is in our organization, we are expanding Acme Health and Wellness. And so in doing that, we go to a big conference they have for a salt room. And it's so funny. So they bring up this big guru that's been in marketing for years. And he says, well, this is how you do this. More people are interested in reels and video and everything else, and they'll just get by the fixed ads and just keep on going till they hit a video, and then you got to catch them on that video. Then he says you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this, and I'm thinking, we do that, we do that, we do that. So that just gave me confirmation that you and Chase are doing what the market is looking for. And so let me ask you this, because sometimes you cannot afford not to do marketing, but what if somebody can't afford you? Can they take their phones and do this themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always areas you can start, and something is always better than nothing. I think a lot of business owners get stuck in this, this cycle of perfection, where they think, okay, if I'm going to do it, it has to be this way. It has to be perfect. It has to have all these components, and they never start and they never do it. And you look at the competition sometimes, and just like the bare minimum, just a little bit of effort can go such a long way in standing out. So there are absolutely ways you can improve your marketing. Sometimes it does require you to, if you don't have the funds to pay someone or to hire it out, you might have to learn a little bit. You might have to figure out how to do it.
Well, that's just one thing. Back in my carpet cleaning days, I got to a point where I was actually called the clean team. And so I ended up selling it to some people, but then I had to take it back because they weren't paying me. So I took it back and I changed the name to Knott's Carpet Cleaning. And one of the, if you don't have customers, you're not in business. So if you can't afford or you can't do the technical stuff that you're talking about, even in marketing, I know this sounds crazy, but, first of all, I would get a flyer and I would go door knocking. I mean, I know that in today's world, but how else do you get your name out there if you can't afford billboards, if you can't afford radio, if you can't afford to hire a marketing expert? There's anything works, but you've got to get your name out there one way or the other. And I will say this, this thing that we're doing, this program that we're doing to help entrepreneurs. And I'm not getting paid. I don't look for advertising. I don't look for anything. But, a lot of people reach out to me that are podcast people and say, hey, I can help you do this, this, and this. But, what we're doing is real. And I don't care that it may not look as professional as, some of these other podcast people, but it's getting the information out there, and that's what we're doing. So let's go back and talk a little bit more about marketing and, of the cost, not necessarily cost, but one thing that they brought out at this conference that I was at was, what is the cost of a customer? Let's go into that a little bit. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, and then I'm going to go into why?
Yeah, I think like what you're saying, if you don't know the numbers, the data, if you don't know how much it costs you to acquire a customer. You don't know how long they stick with you. Like, what's that lifetime value of that customer? If you don't know these metrics, like your churn rate, once you get a customer, if you have a recurring service, how long do they stick with you? If you don't know these things, you're kind of flying blind. So you go to say, okay, I want to go spend money on marketing, but you don't know any of these outputs to measure. It kind of puts you in a tough spot.
So, I know you and Chase, even marketing, even for the rest of the companies we have, you talk about if you can't track it, don't spend it. So explain that to me.
Yeah, if you don't know where these dollars are going and what they're doing for you, it's never going to be scalable, and you're just rolling the dice. It might work, it might not, but you don't know what to attribute that success to. So when you are tracking those numbers, when you know what your data looks like, you can get this stuff dialed in where you know, okay, for every dollar I'm spending, I'm getting $4 back, $5 back, $10 back. And it becomes kind of a constant where you know, okay, hey, if I need leads, I can turn on this faucet, put one in, get 5 out, and that's something scalable. It's something you can rely on. Because as a business owner, uncertainty can be scary, and if you don't know those things, you don't have those kinds of systems, it just makes it harder.
So I'm going to just throw me under the bus for a second. So when we first got started, or nobody knew the City Forum at all. It's one of our businesses, and so one of our deals is that we went to the bus station, and our city buses around our town sell advertising, but they wrap the entire bus. So that may have cost us $15,000 and a whole lot per month. How do we track those sales?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's some things, especially for local marketing, you can't necessarily track.
No, you can't. That's why I said I'm throwing myself under the bus here.
But it doesn't mean it's a bad investment or a bad advertising opportunity.
Yeah, but if I only had X amount of dollars to spend on my total advertising, buying a bus is not one of them to me. Because let's just say I'm in the carpet cleaning business and it costs me $100 to get one customer. Is that a good deal for me?
Depends how much you charge.
So, and how long is that, if I do a good job, how long is that customer going to stay with us, right? Mm-hmm. So if I pay $100 per customer and over the life of a year I get $500, then that's well worth $100. And if that person stays with me 10 years, that's even more. And marketers can get you the customer, but it's your job to keep the customers. They can't go out there and provide the service you do, or the profession you're providing. That's where it comes into your play, not ours. And so I say ours, I'm with you. I am the person that always flew by my seat. I'm just telling you, I wished I knew back then what I know now, but all these tools weren't available when I was growing up either. Everybody in our marketing department really thinks that, or makes fun of me, because I think that direct mail, where I put out a flyer and direct it to a certain area of town or a certain clientele, that they think everybody makes fun of me. Well, when I told you, when I went to the Salt Cave Convention, this guru is as old as I am, or close to it, but he says the lost art of direct mail needs to be picked up back up. So I'm not so crazy, but But when we're marketing like that, is it like, do you need to offer something special, or like when you put these reels out, what does that look like? How do you do that?
Yeah, one example came to mind as you were talking. We were just had a meeting last week with a kind of like a lawn service type company where they had like a subscription-based model. Maybe had charged $100 per treatment, does 6 treatments a year, and he didn't really know his numbers, and he was like, okay, that's fine. Like, let's talk about it. We had probably a 3-minute conversation, and he knew his numbers. It's like, okay, well, how much do you charge? Okay, charge on average $100. Okay, how many treatments? Okay, 6 a year. Okay, that's $600. Now we look at how long do those stick with you once they're here. It's like, oh, well, I have a 90% retention rate of the people I have. So okay, or they stick with you an average 2.5 years. Once we know those numbers, we see that value and all the additional services that he upsells them on the back end for, different, aeration and overseeding, all these different things. We saw very quickly, like, wow, you've got a great foundation here. You could afford to spend a ton of money per client because each one's worth about $2,000 a year.
So when you direct the marketing for him or your other customers, you know how much, when he turns one, how much that customer actually cost him to get. And then he can make, or her can make that decision on how much money you spend toward the particular area that you're spending the money in. Does that make sense?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So, being an entrepreneur is very, very tough. Running your own business is very tough. It gets easier as you grow older or get more experience. But the reason I'm telling people too is to go to someone like you, because not everybody's from this town, right? So they have to be an expert at marketing, they have to be an expert at legal, they have to be an expert at all these different things at the beginning, because they may or may not can afford to do things. So if they can't afford to do things and they know a little bit about marketing and they're spending their own money, yes, they may get some return, but it may be one of those things you may want to pull off of something else and invest in marketing, because that's going to get you to the top quicker than anything else, I think. Grant, we have a lot of talks up in the marketing office, and it's just like this right here, and we're talking, and one of the things that Grant was not used to when he came around us is that we make decisions and we make them very quickly. But then if we screw up on a decision, we're quick to cut it down. How has that impacted you? How does that change your style in the marketing company?
Yeah, I tell you all the time, that's probably my favorite thing I've learned from you and you guys and how you operate. Like, you guys move so fast. You will take 10 swings before most other people have even taken their first. And in those 10, 9 of them may have failed, but one of them's a home run. And other people look at it and just see the home run and think, oh yeah, look, and they're always lucky. Oh, everything they touch turns to gold. But in reality, they failed 9 times and it didn't bother them. Whereas other people, you fail once. It's easy to get down on yourself. Oh, it didn't work. Maybe this isn't for me, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have that mentality. And that's been great for me to think, because for me, in my background, I like to overplan. That is a weakness for me. Overplan, overthink it, and try to get everything perfect. It kind of opened my eyes to think like, man, you can't dwell on the failure. Look at it as a lesson that you've learned from to better educate yourself moving forward. Okay,
so now I'm coming to you again, and I'm saying, okay, I want to do this, and you're going to video me, and you're going to control my content for social media and put some money behind that, whatever that looks like. It's out of my league. But let's say that you return me 0 phone calls. How do I protect, or how do people protect themselves from some marketers that think they're the guru of all time? Is it by checking? How do you do that? I don't know. How do you,
like, how to make sure you get a return on the investment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's tricky. I think there's so many factors come into play. I think to a degree, it's just kind of like anything else in business. There is like some degree of risk with anything. There can be like the most conservative play. There still is some degree of risk. So for us, I think that's where we just shoot you really straight coming in. Like, we can look at it and see like what kind of opportunity do you have? What is your base? Like, what is the offer that you are putting out there? And we can get a really close idea of how well this is going to perform based off what we've done in the past and what we've seen from other clients. So coming in, we can give you a pretty good idea to think, okay, hey, if you're willing to take this amount of time and test and maybe put this budget aside, we feel very confident that we can get you X return. But again, the key is, unlike the city bus with the logo on it, we know exactly what that number is, and we can see if it's trending upward or downward. So
without giving away any trade secrets, so I come to you, you run the reels for me, and on social media, wherever you run these things from, and now my phone starts ringing. Is that how that works? Or how do we know that those phone calls are related to that reel? Because my phone's ringing.
Good question. We'll set up these ads running to where each of them has like a specific link or a way that they're tying back to where they originated from, so we can see like where the lead came from, basically which ad was doing well, or which did they come from your website, did they come from just a regular social media post, was it from YouTube video, whatever it is, we can see where it came from, so we can show you at the end of the month a report of this is where your leads are coming from, to see like, okay, no one is coming from my website, so that guy I'm paying all that money to do my SEO maybe isn't as effective, but this little bit we put in Facebook ads got me a 5-to-1 return. Maybe we should distribute more of that budget towards those ads. So it's really being able to look at those pathways and seeing, but that's why we love this form of marketing, because it's, like you said at the very beginning, it's trackable.
I'm not against radio whatsoever, because as a matter of fact, our family used to own a couple of radio stations and started a newspaper as well. So, but that was 20 years ago. So, I wonder if there's a way to track radio ads. Is there? And I'm just thinking of different media. So
yeah, there'd be like you'd have to have like some kind of specific keyword, some kind of thing. Say mention this or say this, or on the website use code radio 10 for 10% off, something like that. So there are ways to do it, but sometimes it can be a little trickier. But there are ways to do it.
There are ways to do it. So, but my key thing is, if we work really hard for our money, so if I'm spending money on advertising, I want to see where that money's going and what the return is. That's just smart. It's not even smart, because that's just common sense to me.
It's how you stay in business. And why I think this form of like trackable advertising is so important, especially early on in business. If you need leads, you need to make sales, you need to make stuff happen. You don't have this big budget to go throw at things and just see what sticks. So you might not have those like 10 attempts just to fail 9 times. You might really need to hit the home run on the first couple. And that's where it is more important to be able to track those to see what's working, rather than just let's throw up this city bus ad and hope we get calls and just sit there and stare at our phones, because if that doesn't work, then what? The bright side of this paid ads process, you can see and keep evolving and testing to where it's like a proven system that might take a little longer in some instances, but the money you spent wasn't just wasted. It was data that you collected to see what didn't work or what angle maybe didn't resonate, to know what direction to test next.
I ran into somebody that has been on the show before, and I challenged her to do some mail-out marketing, and I challenged her to ask, when she's at the client's house, to ask for a specific number of referrals from that person if she does a good job, right? You can only get that if you do a good job. And, she did one for us, so we're telling people about her. So, and I ran into her the other day, and there's a professional team that she reached out to, and she's got a client off of that. So I'm really excited about that, because, not everybody can afford the marketing at first. But again, if you don't have marketing, you're just dead in the water, because what do they say? Even if you're a retail market on the front street, and they say a business with no sign is a sign of no business, but that goes back to the marketing as well. So because our marketing is working really well for all of the things that we're doing, are we talking about opening any more businesses? Didn't we talk about a few this morning?
It's like, man, when you get the marketing down, it makes everything else so much easier. And I think as a business owner, especially a small business owner, you have to get it through your head that you are a marketer. A lot of people don't want to accept that.
And the thing of it is, one of my buddies is opening a dog and a cat, not a pet store, but a food store, and we're going to have him on as well, because he worked for us for 2 or 3 years, I forgot what, as our operations manager. And so he said, I've learned enough here that I'm quitting. And I'm like, okay, let's kick you out, because that's our goal, is to get everybody, really, that if they want to go into business, they have all the tools to do it. And so now he is opening, he's really close to opening his store. And so we stay in contact, and he is the face of his business. So he has to be there every day right now. When I go to this, the SALT convention that we went to, which they all hit on one thing. It's like, if I'm at Acme Athletics or I'm at the City Forum, your front counter is the first face of your business. And they can either make you or break you. So that they are a marketing tool is what I'm trying to say, because if they're not trained to help people and then direct them into which direction will be maybe a better price or a better package for them, yes, it may bring in some more income, but if it's a better deal, we need to express that and tell that. So your front counter people can hurt you or help you. So if you're looking at a $4 an hour person up front versus a $10 an hour person up front, that $10 an hour person is to me, it's part of marketing, that you need to pay that and train them to where they can be the face as well as you, that you don't have to be there 24/7. But no matter how big we get, I feel like I'm still one of the faces of our business, because I will walk around to our businesses and talk to customers still and talk to employees still to make sure that everybody's happy and what can we do better. We never rest on thinking that we got this mastered, right? And so in marketing, in your marketing company, it's the same thing. We try stuff. Doesn't always work. How many things have we tried that didn't work? You said we struck out 9 and hit 1, but we're going to continue. Now, in our marketing, tell me a little bit about AI. How has that affected marketing?
Yeah, it's changing everything. It's really exciting on one hand, but also really scary on the other. And I think as business owners, it's so important to know that this is coming whether we like it or not. It's kind of like the internet. People probably said the internet was going to be the worst thing to ever happen. Do people do a lot of terrible things on the internet? Absolutely.
Yes.
But are there a lot of good things as well that we've adapted and it's just commonplace? Now, AI is going to be one of those things, and this is developing really quick, and there's ways you can use it as a business owner.
Okay, AI is cool because there are so many things going on. But now let's talk just 3 tips that somebody can take home today and put in their pocket. What's the first thing you would do if you were starting Grant Girsky online coaching in today's world versus in 2020?
I think even like a big picture theme. If you need leads, if you're struggling on that marketing side, you really need to look at where is your time and energy being put. Like I see so many business owners that they don't have leads, but they're so focused on the back end, how they're going to do this service, getting this new truck, doing this new process thing, and like they don't have any leads, but they're working on the back end. Like, you need to be working on your marketing, getting customers rather than focusing on this stuff that isn't going to matter. You're not going to be in business if you don't have those people coming in the door. So I would say number one, I think it's just having the perspective that this is important and you need to treat it that way first and foremost.
The importance of that is if you go and you take your business plan to a bank, and we talked to a banker earlier, the more information you can give a bank, the better they're going to look at you, especially in today's world of banking. And so if you have a marketing plan saying, it's going to take me 10 customers to break even, how are you going to get those 10 customers? And I'm just saying, picking 10, but how do we get those 10 customers? So if you have a plan up front, and maybe you go talk to a marketing person to interview a marketing person to see what they can do for your business, but through that interview you learn, and so you include that in your business plan. Are you using that marketing person? Maybe a little bit, but maybe you may go back to him or her as well because this sounds so good and you need it. But include that in your business plan. What is another good tip for these people?
I think another one, especially starting out, like I think of things that trickle down, kind of like you said, the front end employee who's just on it, you might pay $10 versus less or whatever, like the impact that has. Another one like that, I think, is collecting testimonials and just reviews from your customers. Like that's one of those things, like it's so easy at the end of a job, end of a service, just to not do it and let it go. But it's one of those top end things. The more you do that, the more you collect that stuff, that goes at the very top of your marketing, that trickles down all the way through. It makes it easier, or it generates you more leads because they just see you talking to people they might know. There's instant trust because they see, okay, you're an actual human who's gotten people results. So it makes sales easier, and then delivering on those people that already know, like, and trust you, they're way less of pain in the butt than the average person who just randomly called you up that just didn't know anything about you otherwise.
Well, the thing about that too is these random people now see you and see you're a real person, and they know who they're talking to when they call in or eventually get to you, right? So you're right. And guys, this doesn't have to be professionally done. I mean, you see all these YouTube people on their phones doing however they do it. I can't hold the phone and video myself, so I have to have this. But otherwise, whatever it takes, that's what you need to do. I mean, if it's you on the video, post it. If it's you. All right, let's talk one more thing we hadn't talked about much. Email. Is it important to get email list?
Oh my goodness. That's one thing. Very few people do it, and they're leaving so much money on the table. Like a lot of businesses will come in, we're helping them with marketing. One of the first things we'll ask them is, do you have an email list? What's that look like? How active is it? We'll see some businesses will literally have thousands and thousands of leads or former customers that are sitting right there, and all it takes is one well thought out email with an offer to go out to those 2,000 people, and they could be booked out for literally months, and they just an asset they just haven't touched.
So we're not naming names, but didn't you have a pool company you did that with?
Pool company. Oh yeah.
So tell me in general what that looked like.
Yeah, they had a list. Man, this is a great one because we were they're running some ads, had some content, doing some things, but just wanted more more leads for an offer. It was like a Memorial Day, Labor Day, one of those types of offers. And for like a pool install, I had like a pretty basic type of it's kind of cookie cutter of this size, this type in-ground pool we can do for this price, like flat. That was it. It's like, this is great. Like, let's just send it to your list. Like, what do you mean? It's like your email list. Like, let's just send them the offer, see what happens. And we sent that out, and it was just an email and then a text message with the offer that said, say, ready if you're interested. And we got tons of people coming in to where they ended up selling, I think, 6 pools that were about $40,000, $45,000. I mean, almost generated an extra $300,000 in revenue that they otherwise wouldn't have even been able to touch.
Now that's not all profit, but too, and one other, there is a flower shop y'all deal with at one time, and when y'all set them up for success during a Valentine's Day, they basically called and said, please stop marketing. So, all right, so if it's just fun, it makes life so much easier for the entrepreneur when you can trust somebody to take care of. Just like your banker, just like your accountant, you need to have this professional team around you. And the beauty of it is that you know what price you're going to be paying. They're not on your payroll, so it's not like you have to pay payroll tax and this and this and this and workers' comp and whatever. You don't have to pay all that stuff. It's a professional fee that you get to write off, and then you know how much your customers are going to cost you and how much, if you keep them long term, how much you're going to make. It makes it so easy. Okay, last tip. What is it? Last tip.
Last tip, I'd say if you're in that early stage, you need to pick one form of marketing to commit to learn and practice and do, and just give it the time to work. So many entrepreneurs early on, they want to do everything, or they see the bigger companies do everything, so they think, I'm going to do everything. And they end up doing everything really poorly and nothing works, and they feel stuck. So if it's going to be, hey, I'm going to be the personal brand and get on my stories and document the process and do that, like, so be it. Like, let's do that. Or if it is like, hey, I want to really commit to learning paid ads, or I'm going to have the best testimonial page on in the city to where somebody opts in or sees my stuff, like they're gonna have so much proof, they'll be blown away, they'll have no other choice but to call you. So I say pick one of these things and just give it the time, give it 3 months, go all in on it, and you'll see results.
We had another guest on the show, Drake Young. They were with the water filtration company that we had early on. And he said that, they couldn't afford, so he stayed up all night, bunches of nights trying to figure out some marketing avenues for him to take. And so he's one of the smartest young men that I know besides you, and that, he learned that. And now that they've gotten more in business, he's able to hand that off, but he wasn't able to at first. So there are ways to learn this. Mm-hmm. And so, and 2, somebody has called my wife and I because they're doing work on our building and they want us to do a testimonial for their company. So it's not just us doing, this guy's coming in and he's putting gutters on our building. And so he said, you mind if, because I know they've already done half of them, they're doing a great job. And I'm not going to give a testimonial for somebody I don't believe in. I'm just not going to do it. So they've done a great job, and I want to give them, I want to give back, so what? I'm paying them a lot of money to do these gutters, but we, shining the light like we should want to be able to help him do his business as well. So today, I wanted to talk to Grant about marketing. He's more the marketing guru and that I'll ever be, and I don't want to be. I don't want to waste my brain space on that. I'd rather create new businesses. But I'm just telling you, your marketing will make you or break you. It's one of the most important things that you can do. And so if you find somebody good, it makes your life so much easier, and you can get in. So I always used to say, well, if I have to spend $5,000 on a new truck, what business can I open that will pay for that? Well, that's kind of been my philosophy all these years. That's why we've opened 40 businesses, and I don't have 40 trucks. But, the thing of it is, Grant would have made that business so much easier for me to have and do, and I don't have to worry about that. I'm just like, here, y'all do it, and let the phone ring. And then I can tell if it's not working, but you just have to have the marketing. So we've given you some tips today on how you can do it yourself, how you can go, even to the internet and figure this out. But even if it's you doing selfies and getting testimonials, guys, marketing is where it's at. So, and that way it does free up your time to open more businesses. Why not? So, I love what I do, and that's creating. And I love having great, smart people around me, and that just makes life so much easy. So, guys, just follow us on YouTube and all the other internet channels that we have, and you know what they are. So, but we thank you for listening, and tell a friend. Thank you so much.